me to stay on task, no pun intended. But if you get there, you will then see a plethora of resources as well. So we'll kind of walk through this together, but we have a lot of additional resources on this document as well. Obviously, once this video is done and recording, we will post this video and post it inside that Drive folder, so you have the video and this document to help guide you and learn more about Gmail and Calendar and how they work together, and Google Tasks. So again, we'll refer back to this from time to time, and you'll be able to use this. The other thing on this document, I do want to point out, I have changed this just slightly. Anytime you see the icon of a book, it's a resource for you. It'll take you to a hyperlink of additional resource, like maybe the currents page or to another Google expert. The other thing is you have a video icon that'll tell you it's a YouTube video of whatever topic that we're currently on underneath these objectives. So again, a plethora of resources for you, a resource that you can even learn more and just kind of follow along, but we'll kind of stay on task and do this as we go. So again, thank you so much for joining live and those that are going to watch this video at a later time. So we're going to focus on Gmail today. We're going to focus on the first objective. The first objective we're going to talk about is understanding Google Task. Let's talk about Google Task. Task, in a sense, is a to-do list. It allows you to make grocery list or project list or, hey, what do I need to do list? You will like our to-do list, or we don't like our to-do list. We like to check off our to-do list. That's what I have to say. So we also know email is one of the ways that we always get a to-do list, and we'll find quick ways to add those tasks to our Google Task. The other thing is we have Google Task in our Gmail, in our calendar, and in our sidebar of our apps within Google Workspace. So we talked about the sidebar before in our previous trainings, but you'll find under your sidebar a task icon. Now, some of us like to use our mobile devices, right? Maybe because that's usually someone's telling you to do something on the go. I'm kind of use personal jargon today. Like my husband tells me I need to get his creamer for his coffee. It's something I have to do on the go, right? He tells me as I'm walking out the door. Well, I don't have my computer right there, whatever the case may be. I could actually add the task inside my app on my device. So if you have an Android phone or an Apple phone, you would just go to the appropriate App Store or Google Play, and you can download the Task app as well. It's a standalone app on the sense of your mobile devices as well. So that's just important for the on-the-go and remote access concept. So just know that as well. That's all synced to the cloud, and you can access it multiple ways. You'll be able to actually add tasks and stuff inside your calendar as well on your mobile device as well. So it really, we don't talk much mobile in a lot of our trainings because it's just a more of a small amount of users. But I do want to make a point of it that you'll be able to access this on your mobile device as you can most Google Workspace apps such as Drive, Gmail, Calendar, and so on. But Task is a standalone app as well. So with that, we're going to just kind of do the computer version, obviously, for obvious reasons, but we're going to dive into that a little bit more. So again, if you are kind of just curious what Task looks like on your computer, you could just go to your sidebar and you can locate Task. One thing I'm pointing out before, we talked about this before, if you don't see your sidebar, you're not unlucky. You just might have it hidden. Some of us notice at the bottom right-hand side, you see that there is a side panel, a hide side panel option. You can always click and hide it or have it appear. Either way, I strongly encourage you to always have your sidebar appear, because a sidebar, for definition, is a way to access Google Workspace apps without having to open up in full screen mode. It's just there. It gives you the capability of a side-by-side view of different apps that you work with in Google Workspace, such as calendar apps, calendar, keep, task, and contacts, which is a huge one that I like as well. So again, check out the sidebar, especially regarding task and contacts, especially obviously calendar as well. So we're going to add a task, and some of this will seem pretty minute, but we just need to know how it works within our entire Google Workspace environment. So what we're going to do, our first task, no pun intended, is to create a task. So we're going to go over here, and let's say I just been told via chat, or somebody's told me I need to do something, or I just thought I better prepare for this training I got coming up. I need to, this is an example of a task that I have in my head. I need to prepare for that training that's coming up, or that migration that's coming up. I need to get ready for that. I don't want to forget that, and so much more. So I could do old school and write on a piece of paper, but I can also use Google Task as an option. You'll notice if you open up Tasks for the very first time, you'll notice you will have your username, in my example, open, and that's my primary list. That is my list tied to my account. So this is the one that's going to appear in other environments within your Google Workspace. So notice in my case, I'm in Trainer 9 today. This is Trainer 9's list. So that'd be like your list. It should say your name, your list. And the very first thing I can do is just click on the Add Task option. And I'm going to add a task, prepare for training. So I'm going to add a title, because the task needs to have a title. And I'm going to type in prepare for training. All right. All right. So maybe I have more details I might want to add. I better write some more details on this. So for example, I might want to say prepare for drive training for agency A, and so much more. I then might want to have a due date. Like, this is actually due Friday. I need to get this done by Friday because I'm training on Monday, right? Whatever the case may be. I could actually decide, I don't have to either do the details or the date or time, but I have that option to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and just do all options so we can learn. I'm going to select a date. So I'm going to say this training is due Friday because I have training on the 21st. So I need to have it done, obviously, before I implement that training. I can actually select a date, and then I could set a time if I choose to. So I could say I want to have this done by 1:30 on Friday so I can enjoy my afternoon on Friday. And then in this case, it doesn't seem like a very a task that would need to repeat, like pay bills monthly, whatever the case may be. But do know that you do have the capability of repeating that task. So some people have the hats of sending out communications on Friday, right? I have to send out the Tech Buzz announcement on Friday at 2 every day. That's a repeatable task, right? So you could repeat a task if you choose to as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And now I have a new task set, prepare for training. I put a little description in there, and I put a due date. That's as simple as it is. It's really just, there it is. It's under my Training 9 list. Now, you can do a subtask. So for example, prepare for training is an option, but maybe I need to add a subtask and say, I kind of need to send out a communication on Friday as well. Or maybe I need to do something different. So I can add a subtask underneath the main task. So I would say maybe send out a form. Whoops, got click happy. Oh, I just deleted it. Undo. Don't do that. So I could say send out form and communication. Whatever that subtask could be. You know what it is. This is project A. Whatever you want to put underneath it. A subtask is just kind of a category that goes underneath the main task. That's a pretty simple concept. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, however way you want to look at it, many of us have what we call multiple hats, right? That's same thing for me. I have the Google Trainer hat. I also have the Test Iowa hat. I also have the Project Investment hat. I also have many other different types, Okta hat. I have different hats that I kind of fall under, right? And it's fortunate or unfortunate, depending on how you feel, right? But we all have different duties. It kind of falls under different categories, right? So this example is a grocery list hat, right? I'm a mom. I have five kids. I'm a family of 5. I have to get groceries all the time, right? This is just a training exercise, right? That's a different, it doesn't really need to fall under Jessica's training list, right? So I'm just going to add a new list. It's a whole different hat is how I would describe it. So I'm going to go up here, and you can see I have my default training list, which is my account list, right? But I also want to put this other hat on, my other job duties, right? Other duties assigned. I'm going to go ahead and create a new list. And this time I'm going to call it grocery list, just for training purposes, because that's pretty simple. So now I have another grocery list that is a different task altogether. So you can see then now I can toggle back and forth between my different so-called hats or list that applies to you. Okay. So with that, here is my favorite tip about Task, because we are bombarded with emails, and a lot of the emails have all the details of what you need to do. So for example, if I'm training for that training on Friday, I probably have all the email that I got from that agency saying, this is what I want to discuss. This is what I need to do. This is when we're going to have it. It's all probably in that email. That's usually how a email is usually a task in hand, something I have to do, right? Same concept works, but now I kind of want to like not just track it in my email, I want to do it in my Google Task. If you remember from a previous training, I told you there is so many ways to organize your inbox. It's how you want to organize it. My job is to provide you different ways to do it, and you're going to come up with the best way that works for you. And this is one of those examples that maybe you don't really like this, but maybe you absolutely love this. I don't know, but I'm going to make sure you understand how you can do it and determine how you want to implement or not implement it. So let's go back to that scenario. I got an email with all the details. Man, it's got so many of the details regarding that task in hand, whatever that is, right? It's got all the information you possibly need to do. So this is an example email, right? Add to tasks. So I like my Bitmojis. You know that by now. So if you know, then I want to add this as one of my task options, okay? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and up at the top, you will see either the task icon, if you have the I am buttons, or you're going to have the words add to task. Now we talked about how you can change that to button to text or text to buttons in our previous training. But if you have you're going to look for a task icon if it's the button. Otherwise, you're going to click add to task as an option. I'm going to go ahead and click add to task. And before I do that, I want you to make note of the subject line. The subject line is going to be the title of the task, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click add to task. Notice over here now, I have a new task called add to task. That was the subject line of that email. Now, I'm going to pretend it's 5 hours later. Okay, I'm done with project A. Now what am I going to do? I need to look at my list. I need to look and see what I need to do. All right, I need that task. I need to go back to my to-do list. What's my next priority? This is true life, right? All right, I'm gonna open up my task. Okay. I'm like, okay, I see I need to do this add to task one. What was I supposed to do? It's in the email. I don't remember. Oh, goodness. So what I can do then is I can actually click the little email icon and watch what happens. There's all my details of my task. It's all in that email. So I don't even have to like think about it all. I just pretty much bookmarked it in a concept over to my task, and there's what I need to do. Now I know how to plan for whatever it is I need to do. I absolutely love that. Because usually if you're getting an action item that you need to do, it's in the email, and now I don't have to retype it in the details and so much more. We always have tasks that come in an email. We have tasks that people catch us by the hallway, which is less likely now, but it's probably in a chat. It's whatever. You're getting told what to do in so many different directions. Now you have different ways to keep track of those to-do lists in your Google Task. So quick way to always add an email to your task list is just click on the add to task, and the email will come over into your task. I'm going to go ahead and edit this one just to show you. I'm going to add a due date to this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on, oops, I keep marking it incomplete. No. I'm going to click on add to task. I'm going to add a due date to this. I'm going to add a little bit more to this current task. So I'm editing this task. I want to go ahead and add a due date just to show you how this works within calendar here in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add this for Thursday, February 17th. And I'll put 10 o'clock a.m. I need to do this task. Again, just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So now I've added a little more detail. Added a due date for this project as well, or this task. And I put Thursday, February 17th at 10 o'clock. And we'll talk more about this in a minute, but there is a reason why I'm putting these due dates, so you can see how interoperable, keyword, it works within Google Calendar as well. So the other thing is I want to go ahead and make note that my husband sent me his grocery list, right? He's got all these things, his creamer, his, whatever it is, right? He sent me an email, and I have this grocery list that he sent me in an email or whatever the case may be. I'm going to use that great feature that I just did. I'm going to add to task. So there's my grocery list, and I'm going to go ahead and add it to a task. Now, I did that just like I did before, but remember, I have different hats. Remember, we all have different hats, and that really doesn't really fall under my trainer 9 list. This could be my different hat, my different list, right? Well, notice whatever list that you have populated over here is the default where it goes. So if you had grocery list, it would have gone to grocery list. But if you had trainer 9, which is your default in the sense of your account, then you can actually adjust it. Well, Google didn't completely read my mind on that. It needs to go to the grocery list hat, the list, right? So I can just make a quick change by clicking on 3 dots. In Google Land, we know by now 3 dots means ... That's right. Google has more for you. So when we click on the 3 dots, notice you have the option to adjust it and move it to the grocery list hat. So now that task doesn't fall under to my main account list. It's now going to go into my grocery list. Well, it's supposed to. There it is. So there you go. But you can see now, since I did the email thing, it adds to that, and I can click on this and it'll go directly to that email when I'm ready to go shopping for all those groceries that I seem to spend. So now that you've kind of have a few lists in your task, it doesn't have a whole lot in my current state. This is just for training exercise, but you do have some sorting capabilities in here as well. So you could go up here and, excuse me, I can't remember. The 3 dots, right? Couldn't remember, where you can actually sort by date. So if you do love the due dates, like if you do add the due dates, you do have the capability of changing it by date. That's a nice view. If you'd like to know that I have this coming up on February 17th, it's in a sequential order by date. So you do have that option. Again, 3 dots up there at the top, you have that. You can rename the list. So if you want to call it the main list, you can. You also have the option to delete all completed tasks. That's up to you. We'll talk about that in a minute. And you do have some move reminders to task, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But with that, you have some options in the 3 dots. So just make sure that you see the 3 dots there in a minute. So let's do the most satisfactory thing regarding your to-do list is to actually check it off. So let's go ahead and go back to my grocery list. And let's say I did head over to Hy-Vee or Fairway or Costco or wherever you shop and Sam's Club, and you have taken care of that grocery list. We did our shopping, we spent too much money, and now I am done with that grocery list. That task is completed. So just like anything, you see the check mark as completed. And now watch what happens. It's going to be removed from that grocery list. But no worries when you're going to get groceries next month and for some reason you're like, what did I get last month? What did I do? You have an option down here underneath your task to see your completed task. So you can see there's a little arrow and you can see all your completed tasks. So your boss is asking what you did today or whatever you did that month. You can see all your tasks that are completed and go from there. You can always change your mind and make it mark as uncompleted, like I didn't quite get that done. So you can always just uncheck or check it regardless, but just know there's like a different VIN for you at the bottom. I know this is kind of hard to see in Google Meet. Maybe I'll try to blow it up just a little bit. But you can see that you have a completed task option at the bottom. You can always, if you think it's necessary, if it's got too many completed or you just want to remove it altogether, you can delete the task. and now it's deleted. The email is not deleted, it's just the task itself is deleted. So be aware of that. And we're going to stay inside Gmail instead of toggling back and forth. But that's pretty much task in a nutshell in the sense of the sidebar. We're going to dive into it more in the calendar side of things. But it really does work really well. So I'm just going to jump to the Google Doc for a second and just understanding Google Task here. Well, that should work. You'll see that you do have some additional resources for you if you are interested in downloading the Task app on your mobile device. For personal reasons, you can always use Google Task if you have a personal Gmail as well. So keep that in mind. This one talks about the multiple hats of creating multiple lists, like whatever you want to do, and so much more. So just kind of review those if you choose to. The next objective is to create an event from an email. So many of us might want to create a calendar follow-up meeting versus, okay, we've gone a long ways on this conversation. We just need to meet. Let's just talk about it. Whatever the case may be, you can actually quickly create an event from an email as well. And that's what we're going to do next in objective 2. And you're kind of probably seeing a common theme here that we're actually kind of putting stuff inside our calendar. We just haven't quite figured that out how we're doing that yet, but that's what we're doing. So I have an email here called Party. And man, who doesn't need a party? So let's pretend this email has all the information of a get together with your friends, right? And so much more. Before I do anything else, I do want to show you who is invited to this email. So trainer 9 is the one that sent me the calendar invitation, or excuse me, sent me this email. Trainer 5, excuse me, I'm trainer 9. Trainer 5 decided to invite me to a party because I'm cool. So trainer 9 and trainer 5 want to have a party. And so what we want to do is like, okay, I want to go and all the information's on there. Or hey, maybe it's an agenda. Maybe it's, hey, this conversation that just keeps going on and on and on, but we don't seem to answer. We need to set up a meeting. Whatever the case may be, we need a meeting. We need to get together. So what you can do under the More button, let me get out of this a little bit, it's too big. Under the More button, up at the top, in your case, it might be 3 dots. Remember, 3 dots, we know what that is now. You see the 3 dots or the More button, you see an option to create an event. You'll see the option to create an event. I'm going to go ahead and click Create an Event. It's going to happen, it's actually going to populate a calendar invitation. So just give it a minute to populate. I don't even have to go to calendar. It's going to take me directly to calendar by doing that Create an Event option. I can tell I'm a little slow right now. I just saw myself freeze. Now, it's not a very good example, and I kind of forgot about that, but all the contents of that email, in this case, it brought trainer 5's signature, but all the contents except for the image of the Bitmoji came over. So you'll notice it brought all the contents of that email into the description of that email. That's huge. So like that conversation that you're having, it's all there in the email. The other thing that comes over when you create an event is the people that were in the email. So trainer 9 is myself today, but trainer 5 is the one that sent me that calendar. I don't even have to go back to that email, look to see who was in that email, and then now manually invite them. Obviously, I can change my mind and say, I'm trainer 5, you're not coming to this party. I can make that decision once it's in here, but at least I don't have to go back to the entire email and then copy and paste and determine who's coming over. It brought all that information already over. It also put the subject line of that particular email into the title of the event. The title, the subject line of that event or that email was party, right? So that's there as well. So it saved me a lot of time. It's got the guest name already there for the most part. It's got the content of the email in there. So we kind of have an idea of what we might be meeting with. Obviously, I can adjust any of it because it's just a draft form right now. It's just a draft form. So I could say party at Justice House, right? I can adjust this. I can remove this and say, let's talk about this more. Whatever it is. But it still brings it over so I don't have to start from scratch. Now, you still have to determine what time you want to have this party. You still have to determine all that. So I would then select the date and time, just like you normally do on a calendar invite. I'll just do 1:30 to 2:30 on February 16th, whatever the case may be. I'm not going to train you on Google Calendar right now, like how you could find a time and do all that. We'll talk more of that in calendar training, but you can see how it's interoperable, right? You can kind of see that create event really does help you and save you lots of extra clicks, which is always the goal in our life, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit save, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. And then I'd go ahead and send it to Trainer 5. So I'm in my calendar view right now. So since this is like, I told this is going to be a shorter training, and it really is, but we're going to discuss, learn how to use Google Task in events and calendar. So now we've kind of realized how powerful Google Task can be and how useful it can be within Gmail, and we use Gmail as our to-do list all the time. But also our calendar is kind of our go-to app, right? Like, what is going on today? What do I need to do? It depends. I'm not a huge like what I need to do kind of person in my calendar, but in my personal life, my goodness, I live and die by my Google Calendar. It's just depending on what hat I'm on, right? We just have to function differently. But one of the things you have in your Google Calendar is Google Task. Okay. So I'm going to talk more about Objective 3 now, just for understanding. Objective 3 is learn how Google Task and events and calendar work. That's what we're going to do. So in Google Calendar, you have your own primary calendar, which is going to be underneath My Calendars is your calendar. It's your default calendar. It's your work calendar, right? But underneath that, you have reminders and task. Okay, you have reminders and tasks. And I have a lot of blue going on here right now, so I'm going to just to give it a better visual training here, I'm going to go ahead and click on the 3 dots, and I'm going to make my task purple. And I'm going to make my reminders, we'll do pink and purple today. How about orange? Well, we'll do orange. Reminders are orange, tasks are purple. So right now in my settings, this will be totally different in your settings. I don't know what color you have, but regardless, my colors are colors that I selected. But you have your calendar, it's going to say your name, and you do have reminders and tasks underneath my calendars. Now, you might not have any reminders and tasks set on your calendar, but I do in the sense of task, and we'll talk more about reminders in a minute. So task, you can see now, remember, we added 2 tasks today, right? We added add to task, which was my Bitmoji of saying add to task, right? And we added the task prepare for training. Those were the ones that I put due dates on there, right? I put due dates on there. So you can see them with the timestamp of the times that I selected. Remember, I was going to prepare for training on Friday because I have it on Monday. Right? And then I add that task just to show you. So both of them are appearing in purple in my case because task is purple. Not only do I have this to show when I put a date and time on there. Now, it won't show a date and time on your calendar if you don't have a date and time, because how's it going to know where you want to put it, right? It still can't completely read your mind. But I still want to know what my tasks are. I don't have to go to Gmail. I can go to my, that's right, your sidebar. On the right hand, oh, that's contacts, wrong one. Sidebar, and I can locate, that's right, all those tasks and my different hats. So I can toggle back and forth and look at my grocery list, which I don't have to get groceries. And I can go back to my training list. They're both there. So I could add a task up here. So I could say, prepare for the Gmail UI change. And I'm going to put that on, we'll stay with this week so we can see it. And I'm going to do that one at 9 a.m. on Friday. Now you can see that that's right up there. If I did the same thing with the grocery list, let me go to the grocery list. And I'm going to put a due date on that one as well. I'm going to add a new task because my husband told me I need to get more groceries. It's more like my teenagers are telling me, I need this, Mom. Teenage list. We'll just say that. Teenage list. And I'm going to put a due date of Thursday at 4. I'm not doing 4 p.m. I'll do 4 p.m., not a.m. And notice that no matter what list I put them on, it still shows up in my calendar task with the time. So if you live and die by your calendar and you need to know what you need to do at what time, you want to use Google Task. It's really going to help you. Really going to help you. Now, you're going to either have the option, Google likes to give us options. You can go over here and look at your list, or you can just look at your calendar if you like the date and times, right? It's up to you. So let's say it is Thursday and you're like, oh, I forgot to do the add to task one. What do I need to do for that again? Remember, I did that one with an email, remember? So I can click on this task. Oh, so good. The email is right there. So I can actually look at that task, decide what do I need to do with this. I can actually click on the view related email, and I will actually go directly to that email with all the details of that task that I need to do. I just saved myself many clicks, because now I don't have to go back to my email search, look for that particular task, that email, find all the details, and it's directly all there in a matter of clicks. So again, Google's given you many, many ways to navigate with less clicks. And you can actually see what list it's on and so much more. And you can edit the task. So let's say I want to edit this task. Maybe I want to change the date. Maybe the deadline needs to go to a different date. I can do very similar things right here. I can change the list and decide this one should go to the grocery list if I choose to, and so much more. But the most satisfactory thing is to obviously click on it and mark completed. Now you have the strike through. That's given you a visual indicator that that task has been completed. And it's lighter color now. It's the light lavender versus the dark purple. So you can see that I can do that with my teenage list as well. I can edit. Maybe I need to say they want the RX bars, they want V8 juice, they want chocolate. I can add more to it, so much more, and it's going to be updated in all locations. As you can see now, we got the RX bars, V8 juice, and so much located, all synced together. One change reflects in all locations. So depending on the day, how you want to go to your task, if you want to go through your calendar, that's fine. If you want to go to the sidebar, wherever you update that information, it's all going to be reflected correctly. So that's that. Let's see, what else do I want to go over? Oh, reminders. So let's say, okay, maybe you want to create a task on the go using calendar. So let me do that now. So a lot of us will go up here and click create. When you click create, Google has now decided to give you tons of options. We need to look at this. When you create an event, we're not going to really create an event. But what we have is now we have focus time, out of office. And again, we'll hit all these in the calendar training. But there is two other options that we're going to discuss today, is task and reminder. So what we have here is task. So I have the same view that we've had earlier when we were editing the task. So I could go here and say, review Okta website, because we've got to change or something. We don't worry, but just say we did. And I can put a due date. I could go all day. I can do whatever. Just selecting, maybe I want to do February 19th. And I want to go here and just say update YouTube videos. That sounds horrible. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. I'm going to make sure I put on the right list, and I'm going to hit save. So then you're going to see under my list, I have review Okta website. And that would fall under all day on Saturday. So let's go to Saturday's day on the 20th. which I'm not going to do it on Saturday 19th. I have the review Okta website. So if it's an all-day event, it appears at the top. So that's that. Let's talk reminders. So where I think of task, in my opinion, this is not something to really like, I don't know. It's just my opinion. So you have task, and I think a task are kind of one-offs, in my opinion, not really repeatable actions. It's just really terminology. It's up to you what you think. It's whatever way you want to organize it. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Reminders, I kind of think like reminder to lay out my daughter's homework, right? Those kind of things. Or reminders also could be like, I need to pay every month this. It's just depending on how you determine what you think is a reminder. Reminder to bring the bring my slide deck or whatever, bring my PowerPoint, bring my whatever for my training materials. It's up to you. But you have the option to do task and or reminders. You can do both. So with a reminder, when you create an event, it's going to look, you're going to hit create. And then again, now we're not going to do a task, we're going to do a reminder. I'm going to say with what I think reminders are, I'm going to say pay bills. Like, it's just a monthly thing. I got to pay bills every month. I got to pay my mortgage, right? I got to send out this reminder every month, right? And so much more. So you can actually do a repeatable one. So I could say pay bills every weekly on whatever it is, right? You have those same customizations, repeatable options when you use calendars, right? We know how to do, we meet every second Thursday of the month. We've done those things, right? So you can do the same repeatable, or you can always do a custom one. Same concept when you do events. So if you want to do custom, I could say every Friday, and it ends never. Unfortunately, I have to pay bills till I die, right? So repeat every week on Friday and go from there. And I'm going to actually, I'll do 8:30 a.m. And actually, I'm going to say start the 19th. All right, so 7:30 every, not the 19th. It's off on my calendar. It's throwing me out. This calendar set up differently. The 18th, which is Friday at 7:30. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And I'm going to go to month view so you can see it. So now you can see barely on the 18th, on the 25th, on the 4th at 7:30. Now I have a little different icon. It's got the finger, like, you know, stick a little string around your finger so you remember how to, or how you want to do that. It's got a different icon. Let's get out of that so you can see it better. Let me blow it up. But you can see over here, now it has the finger icon, and that's the visual indicator. This is a reminder. And this down here where it says prepare for training has the task with the check mark, the circle with the check mark. So you've got the visual indicators of what you're doing, okay? So now these are reminders. And now remember, we have two different calendars that were added to our calendar. We have the orange, which is reminders and my screen. That's not going to look orange on your screen. But you also have tasks is purple. So you've got not only the different icon visual indicators, but you also have the color coordination on your different calendars as well. So let's see how it looks in Google Task. So you can change one to be a reminder. So let's say send out form and communication. I might want to, oops, not mark it as uncompleted. You can move reminders to task instead of the other way around. So let's say I could move these reminders to task if I wanted to. So let's just see what happens with that. So now it's adding those reminders into your task bar as well. So you have an option to look at those as well. I haven't really used that feature. You can see I'm kind of clunky on that. It's not something I use. My job does not entail a lot of repeatable actions. It's very, very random, but I have had the job where I'm always doing the same thing, right? A billing specialist, obviously, administrative assistant. Those are jobs that have more of a, I got to do this every month. And so I think I would have probably dived into this a little bit more knowing that was my job task. It's just not something I personally do. But I do want you to make note, if you are in those roles where you do a lot of things periodically, reminders are good for that, right? We need reminders because we get in like focus time. We're like, what am I working on? I need a reminder. I can't tell you what I did on my personal life. I can't tell you how many reminders I have to set for myself. But with that, here at work, it's not really my hat, right? But you do have that capability to be really organized and never miss a deadline. So keep that in mind as well. So you have a lot of options here within the Google Task in the sidebar. We now know that we can quickly add an email to a task, which does help us tons because we know an email contains usually what we need to do, right? This is what I need. Your boss has sent you, asked you for a report on Google and asked you how many users we have and all the details. Instead of me trying to remember what I needed to do, it brings the entire email over. That's huge. We know now that tasks are part of your calendar and your reminders are part of your calendar. So again, this is another tool for you to stay organized. So just kind of be aware of that. Now, I know I'm not a huge expert in the sense of Outlook. I believe it had a to-do list concept, task list as well, but this is a hidden gem. And the good news is I could tell you, Google has spent a lot of time on tasks. There has been improvements on task. They want to continue using this. Why? Not only for this, but give you a sneak peek for future trainings. For our next training, we're going to focus on the integrated workspace where we're using spaces, which was formerly known as rooms. When you have a room, or now called spaces, you will notice that you have task in there as well. We're very task-oriented generation where we need to always have something to do, apparently. But you can see task is continuing to grow where we can add task in a space as well. Even Google has updated its Google Tasks. So what I'm trying to tell you with all that information is when Google spends that much time on these things, that means they're going to even have more enhancements regarding tasks. So however way, if you start using Google Tasks, it's a great way to get you organized, maybe move from the paper world, or using email as your primary to-do list. You can actually use the app that is made for to-do list. Your task and reminders, your Google Tasks will work great. So again, I know this was a shorter one, but I don't want you to miss the next one. I do give you guys, since you guys are here, I'll give you a little bit of an announcement. Google is changing its integrated workspace to give you a new design. The good news, it's a good upgrade. It's not here yet, it's coming. It's not going to change your interface in the sense, it's just going to give you more opportunities on the left-hand navigation to access our apps such as Gmail, Chat, Calendar, Meet, which we are using so much more now within our hybrid remote times. So we will have an announcement once we see it in our domain to actually opt in and try out the new experience. So that'll give you a better understanding that that's coming out, but it's not going to change your experience in the sense of like, oh, I need all this training on it. It's just going to give you more options on the left-hand side regarding chat, meet, and spaces, which all of you are using on a regular basis more now than ever because of our remote times. I live and die by the chat and chat spaces all the time. That is how I communicate to my team and my colleagues at all times for the most part. I don't remember last time I actually composed an official email to my colleagues. I do to other people, obviously, but for people that I work on a daily basis, I only communicate them through chat, and they're giving us some really new ways to make that more efficient. So we will hopefully have a sneak peek for you at the next training. We'll be using our test domain, I'm hoping. I've been checking to see if we have it available in our test domain to give you an idea of what that looks like. But it'll be for the more of your integrated workspace apps such as Gmail, or not Gmail so much, but Calendar, Chat. I've done 2 trainings today. It's never good. Chat and Meet and Spaces. So with that, I appreciate your time. I just don't want you to forget that there's a plethora of resources on the doc down here for you. You can check out the task page, which we do have a page just for Google Task. You can check out the community page. There's always some good updates there. And then obviously the cheat sheet gets started in Google Task. I always recommend for those that have never done a particular app is to check out the cheat sheet. It gives you a great visual indicator of what it looks like. So if you've never checked out a Google Workspace cheat sheet, you're missing out. It does a really good job to get you started and really a great way. And it's always up to date. It's hard to, as a trainer within Google Workspace, to keep our materials always update. So we rely on Google because they have a few more employees than we do. So we want to make sure we're giving you the most up-to-date information, and Google does a really good job with their cheat sheets to get started within Google Workspace. So that's why we post it on our Google Help page. As always, I always go off tangent, but I want to give you as much information, and I appreciate your valuable time. I hope to see you next week with the integrated workspace and a sneak peek, and go from there. So with that, I'm going to sign off. And if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Have a great day.